Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Entitled People. It's time for more Reddit stories, so be sure to like and subscribe and let's get into it, friends. My neighbor told me I couldn't put out my trash, so I put his on vacation hold. So I rent a house with my husband and two of our friends. It's a 5-bedroom house. Rent is outrageous in our area, $2,400 for a 1-bedroom apartment. So we found this house for $3,000. Not a bad deal while we save up to buy a house. There are other houses in the neighborhood like this as well. Our next door neighbor's house is a 5-bedroom house and they have 9 people living in it, so it is chaos over there all the time. In our neighborhood, we can choose the trash company, so it just so happens that we have the same trash company as the next door neighbors. Our trash company does like us to have the trash out by 7 a.m. We don't always get it out that early though, and that's where this problem started. Most of the time, they don't pick up our trash until 11 a.m. So obviously, as long as the trash is out before the trash pickup gets here, they can take our trash. The people next door have 3 trash cans, and they are overflowing every single week. They put their trash out the night before, but unfortunately our neighborhood has raccoons and foxes, so the trash is always gotten into. And last time a raccoon got into their trash, it left a mess in our yard, and they wouldn't pick it up. I was pretty pissed about it, but I just let it go and cleaned up their trash. I did go and put it back in their trash can, but they just sat out front glaring at me while I did that. Here is where this incident started a couple weeks ago. I didn't get our trash out until almost 9 a.m. All 4 of us were sick with COVID. I was on the mend and feeling a little bit better, but I slept in and forgot to put out the trash at 7 a.m. So I go to put the trash out, and my neighbor starts yelling at me saying, "You were supposed to have your trash out by 7 a.m. You can't put your trash out now." I said, well, they haven't come and picked up the trash because your trash cans are full, so it's not a big deal. He said, no, that's the rules. Your trash has to be out by 7 a.m. If it's not, you can't get your trash picked up this week. I said, I understand that they want the trash out by 7 a.m., but they haven't come and picked it up yet, so it doesn't matter. So I went ahead and just walked inside. I went back to bed, and a couple hours later I get up to see that our trash can was put to the side of the house, and it was still full of trash. So that means that someone moved our trash can. Our other neighbor came up to me the next day and said that she saw him putting our trash can back. She didn't know the situation, so she wasn't going to butt in and tell him not to do that. Our neighbors are also very proud of their last name. They literally have a flag in their window with their last name. So I called the trash company and I said that I was Mrs. So-and-so and I needed to set up a vacation hold for our upcoming pickup. They said, no problem. We won't pick up your trash next week. They legit only asked for the address, no other information. The next week I made sure that our trash was out at 6:45 a.m. Then I sat and I watched for the trash truck, and I watched them come past the house. They drove past my neighbor's house and didn't pick up their trash, even though their trash was overflowing. Picked up ours and the other few people who also have them and left. I know I'm an asshole for doing this. You don't need to tell me. I may have crossed the line. But he also crossed the line by touching our cans and moving them, and setting foot on our property. They definitely deserve that for sure. I really doubt that it's an actual rule that you need to have your cans out by 7. The trash company is probably saying we can stop by your house at any time starting at 7 a.m. Not that it needs to be out there by then or else we won't pick it up. And I really just don't get why these neighbors would go out of their way to do that. So yeah, if you're not going to mind your own business, then let's see how you like it. A woman can't be a plumber? Find someone else. Many moons ago, I worked in construction. Repairs after water and fire damage, specifically. It was my father's company and I worked there between studies and other jobs, but I got fairly decent at the job in time. At least good enough to be trusted with managing the on-site duties for smaller jobs. We typically handle everything on the job site, including hiring third-party painters, plumbers, and electricians, as the jobs we took were insurance jobs. The customer was home as I was finishing up putting down new floorboards and molding after a water leak in their kitchen due to cracked plumbing, asking questions about the job and otherwise being pleasant to be around. As I was packing down my gear, the plumber we contracted arrives. I was pleasantly surprised to see that Helen was the one showing up. Having worked with her before, we have a quick chat as she is grabbing what she needs from her truck. Helen was in her early 20s at this time, with a year or 2 on the job, but is constantly praised behind her back by her coworkers for her exceptional work. I walk back into the house with her and show her the kitchen, and she gets ready to do her work. I enter the living room with my broom and vacuum to clean up after myself, and inform the tenant that the plumber is here, and his kitchen will be fully functional once she is done. She? Women can't be plumbers, he says as he lets out an annoying sounding grunt. I assure him it is a she and that she knows her stuff. He looks quizzically at me, and moves me to the kitchen to, I assume, confirm that it was in fact a woman. I loosely follow as I sense a situation brewing, and because I am curious. In the kitchen, he lets out a disappointed, "Hello?" And after she introduces herself, he asks where the real plumber is. She informs him that she is the plumber, and that she will be done shortly. He refuses to believe that she is the actual plumber, and asks again where the real plumber is. She gets a confused look on her face, and before she has time to respond, he utters, "I want a real plumber, not a little girl who cried her way to this job and will screw it up, because a little girl like you cannot be a plumber." She is rightfully angered by this, does not know how to respond. I step in to tell him she really is a plumber, and is more than capable for a simple job like this. He still refuses to believe this, and tells her to call a real plumber and orders her out of the house. She gets up and heads over to her car with tears in her eyes. I asked if she was okay. She said yes, but I doubt that was true. She told me to finish up what I was doing while she called her boss. I figured she wanted to be alone a few minutes and obliged. Her boss, hearing what had happened, instructed her to stay there, while he came over to talk to this fine specimen of humanity. I was done with my tasks at the house and stayed to talk with her while we waited for her boss. When her boss came, we gave him the full story and watched him go over to the house. Their interaction took place at the front door, next to where we were parked. The owner of the house spat out, "Finally, someone who knows their stuff, right this way," and turned around to show the location of the kitchen. Her boss just said, "No," making the owner turn back. Just because she is a young woman does not mean she is not a great plumber. She is one of my best. You do not talk to any of my employees like that. We will not finish this job. After that, he walked back over to us and just said, "Let's go." We all left. As our company was the project lead, we would have been the ones finding a different plumber to take the job. However, my dad does not care for these kinds of disrespectful people. Once I told him about that day's events, he contacted the insurance company and informed them that the customer was disrespectful to his employees and subcontractors, and would no longer offer services to this customer. We still had some carpentry work left at this man's house, waiting for the electrician to finish his work, which also was canceled, as they were subcontracted by us and paid by us. This meant that the insurance company had to contract a new company for the project lead, which then had to contact their own subcontractors. The magnificent timing of these events meant that no one had open slots in their calendars for this job. We have a good relationship with the insurance agents we work with, and was informed that it took a full week before this job was completed, instead of being finished the next day. Bonus. About a year later, we are talking to the insurance agent on a different job, and he asks if we remember this customer. He informs us that he had a new water leak in a different section of the house. It was discovered that the plumbing work was done by one of the customer's friends. In Norway, plumbing and electrical needs to be done and documented by a licensed professional. Otherwise, your insurance will not be paid. As you might have guessed, his friend is not a plumber. He had to pay the repairs of the latest damages out of pocket, and the insurance company took a new look at the first leak. It was decided that the initial water leak also did not qualify for insurance, and he had to pay back the full amount of repairs for this as well. I gave Helen a call with the fantastic news, and she was ecstatic. Would I be the a-hole for calling the police on my boyfriend after he let his brother and his family live in my holiday home without my permission? For context, I'm a 28-year-old female, and I inherited a holiday home from my grandma some time ago. I never really use it as it's roughly a 5-hour drive out from London where I live. It's relevant to the story that the keys to the holiday home are on a rack, with literally every other key to anything my boyfriend or I own. The holiday house has a security system hooked up to my phone. When it detects someone on the property, cameras turn on and I can see them. My boyfriend's brother, 33, recently had his 4th child. Him and his wife currently live in a 2-bedroom apartment. So 3 days ago, they were both over at mine and my boyfriend's house with all their kids. We were talking about anything and everything. I was holding the baby. My boyfriend's brother eventually mentioned how I have my holiday home, and how it has more than enough space for him and his wife to raise their 4 kids. My exact response was, "Yeah, but I'm not going to let you live there, so..." He went quiet after that, and his wife started to collect their kids and their things. They left about 10 minutes after. My boyfriend hasn't said anything to me about the conversation, yet I'm feeling bad about my response, because I know they really do need the space. So fast forward to yesterday. I wake up for work and realize my boyfriend isn't in bed with me. Nothing out of the ordinary, he works from 8:30 a.m. When I'm finally about to walk out the door, I go to grab my keys, and notice my holiday home's keys are gone. I look around for them, can't find them, so I call my boyfriend. First time he doesn't answer, second time he doesn't answer, third time he does. The conversation went like this: "Hey, have you seen my other house's keys?" "Yes, I have them." "Cool, why have you got them though?" "Grabbed them by accident. I'll return them when I get back from work." I thought everything would be fine, so I continued with my day and went on to work. Midway through my workday, I get a notification from the house's security system. I open it and find my boyfriend, his brother, and his family all outside the door with a moving van in the back. I was fuming. When I got home, my boyfriend was already there, acting as if everything was normal. I started screaming at him, asking why the hell he'd move a family into my house without my permission. He tried to justify it and say he had to help his family. It honestly just made me more angry. I told him that we were over. He has 1 day to get his brother and his family out of my house, or I would call the police on them all for trespass. That all happened at around 6 yesterday, 14 hours ago. He hasn't called me or anything, but I fully intend to go through with my threat. But I know they're struggling right now, so would I be the a-hole for calling the police? Edit. Thanks for all the advice. By searching through the UK's government website, I've managed to figure out what I can legally do. I've also called the police on them already. I haven't received any updates on that yet, but I'll share them when I can. Edit 2. I called the police a small while ago. About 30 minutes ago, they came and returned my keys, and let me know that the family had been told to leave by them. At first, they refused, but eventually they packed their things up and went. My ex-boyfriend, his brother, and his brother's wife have been blowing up my phone, asking why the hell I'd put them and their children through this. I've blocked them all. I feel absolutely terrible about what I did, and I know there was probably better ways to handle the situation. I even considered letting them stay after all, but I'm not sure if they would pay rent or anything. For the future, I plan to rent the home out as many of you suggested, but I'm not sure how ex-boyfriend's family would take that. Edit 3. I've had better security systems installed on the house, and the locks changed. Thank you to everyone who gave me advice at the time. It helped me get through it mentally. Once again, thank you everyone. OP, you're absolutely not the a-hole for doing that. It doesn't matter if it was your boyfriend's family, it is still trespassing. Even if they're struggling, that still doesn't justify doing that. It's as if they kind of just expected you to be like, "Oh, you stole my keys and moved into my house without permission? Okay, well you guys can just stay there, I guess." Like, no way in hell should you let that happen. And if they had any chance of being able to rent that out from you in the future, they sure as hell just destroyed that chance. Well, that's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Be sure to drop a like, I'd really appreciate it. And also, subscribe to the channel for more Reddit content. So take care everyone, and I'll see you next time.